Were you worried about him during that siege? Were you worried about his safety?
No, I thought he was well protected, and I had heard that he was in good shape. Mm-hmm. No, because I had heard he was in very good shape. But no.
You heard those chants. That was terrible. I mean, those,
he could have. Well, the people were very angry.
They're saying, "Hang Mike
Pence."
Because
it's common sense, John. It's common sense that you're supposed to protect. How can you, if you know a vote is fraudulent, right? Yeah. How can you pass on a fraudulent vote to Congress?
So John Carl tells Trump that people were chanting, "Hang Mike Pence," and Trump's response is to defend not his own vice president, but the mob that tried to kill him, claiming that their efforts were common sense. Common sense to stage an insurrection on the United States Capitol because the vice president was doing his perfunctory duty by certifying legal and valid election results as outlined in the Constitution. Of course. Trump goes on to say that he wasn't worried about Pence because he knew that he was in very, very good shape, which is ironic because during the insurrection, Trump actually showed just how concerned he was about Pence and his safety. He tweeted, quote, "Mike Pence didn't have the courage to do what should have been done to protect our country and our Constitution, giving states a chance to certify a corrected set of facts, not the fraudulent or inaccurate ones which they were asked to previously certify. USA demands the truth." That was while Pence was hiding because people who were chanting, "Hang Mike Pence," were out looking for him. And yet, we're supposed to believe that he wasn't trying to have him hurt? Give me a break. And of course, Trump goes on the usual tirade about how this is all justified because the vote was fraudulent, which is, per usual, a lie. And here's how I know it's a lie. For the 400 millionth time, that very issue was litigated in more than 60 court cases, and in not one of them did a judge validate any of the fraud conspiracies that the Trump team brought forward, including when presented to 8 judges who Trump himself appointed. Trump's own Department of Justice, led by Bill Barr, who would argue that Thursday is actually Monday if Trump told him to, said that there was no fraud. Trump's own Department of Homeland Security said there was no fraud. Republican governors and secretaries of state said there was no fraud, and every single recount and audit in the entire country confirmed the original counts, which showed that Joe Biden was the clear winner. At some point, you've just got to be able to take no for an answer and accept the fact that when your desperate claim has been refuted every which way by every agency in every state by every judge, that maybe, just maybe, your claim might be bullshit. And by the way, certainly not my intention to victim shame here because Mike Pence is undoubtedly a victim in this, and to his credit, showed courage on January 6th when he could have easily heeded Trump's bidding and refused to certify valid election results. But even despite Trump parading himself around and coddling the people who tried to assassinate his VP, still Pence is too scared to acknowledge it. And look, yes, I get that he probably wants to run for president and that if he crosses Trump, the base will turn on him, but maybe, I don't know, stand for something? If you're not even willing to criticize the guy who tried to have you killed, then maybe that's a testament to the glaring lack of leadership and judgment skills that you'd show as president. If you can't even stand up for yourself, how in God's name are you going to stand up for America? And the same goes for the rest of the Republican Party. They have shown, either through fear of retaliation or, on the other end of the spectrum, outright aggressive fealty, that they wouldn't dare stand up to this one guy. And that's effectively all the Republican Party is at this point. A monument to Donald Trump. They stand for nothing else. This is a party that used to stand for family values, that is now lined up behind someone whose entire presidency was marred by campaign finance violations for paying hush money payouts for affairs. A party that used to stand for fiscal responsibility, that rubber-stamped policies that added $7.8 trillion to the debt during the Trump era. A party that used to stand for states' rights, that only recently tried to outdo each individual state's election results because they didn't like how the people of those states voted. Any way you cut it, the GOP is a barren husk of what it claims to be. The fact is that Republicans are not only failing to show remorse or regret for the events of January 6th, they are continuing to ignite the sparks that lit this fire in the first place. They might have been able to claim ignorance the first time, but they're going to have blood on their hands if and when this happens again. To see more videos like this, click the subscribe button right here on this screen. And if you want to support my work, subscribe to my podcast, No Lie with Brian Tyler Cohen. I cover the most important stories each week, and my guest is always one of the top political figures, including Vice President Kamala Harris, Jen Psaki, Elizabeth Warren, Pete Buttigieg, Nancy Pelosi, Katie Porter, Cory Booker, and so many more. The podcast link is also right here on this screen, so give it a listen and subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to podcasts.